What's going on, guys? So many of you know I have a 2016 Mercedes Metris. She is in all of her glory. She has done me well. Now I'm going to do something that's more difficult but very easy, which is changing your oil at nighttime, not in a garage, not on a lift. So changing your oil is super simple, but when there's not a lot of light and it's something you may not be familiar with, like a vehicle you've never worked on or never changed the oil on, I'm gonna show you how. And it's with an oil extractor, something I've known about for a really long time, and I've wanted to get one, but I always thought they were expensive. Normally I do my research on things and look up how much things are, but just never really thought too in depth on it. So let's get into it. So to take this out, there's a little clip, hard to see, but you look right here. I'll try and get from the back side. You push that. Once it's engaged, then this will slide up just like that. All right, so the one thing that you have to do is this has a little tab here. See that tab that just needs to be lifted up, and then you can pull that off, and then this part just slides off the airbox. Loosen it with the flathead. That's the only tool you really need besides this 27 millimeter. And then this part will come out. You can leave it on the airbox, or it'll come out from the airbox. And that, pull your dipstick, insert your tube, make sure your oil is warm, and then insert it into your drain. How did I not know to buy one of these before? I mean, I've known this existed, but I always thought it was like hundreds of dollars for an extractor. This is just gangster. And then I think this was a 27 millimeter. Pretty rad. I'll put a link to this in the description below. About 8.1 quarts. And then I use 0.40 for European cars. Pretty basic stuff. Super clean, super easy to do. This is your part number. It's 10 minutes later and it's just starting to dribble out. So I'm going to give it probably about one more minute and then go ahead and turn it off. Oh, I highly advise getting a set of these grease monkey gloves. They're awesome. Realistically, you don't even really need gloves. I'm wearing gloves because I wanted to pull it out and make sure that it's coming out, and I also wanted to check the actual oil and see if there's any metal in it, so that's why I sprayed a little bit on the top there. It took about 10 to 11 minutes to go ahead and empty this. This worked amazing, and this is something you could just keep in a baggie and keep in your van. My van has almost 140,000 miles, so I have done multiple oil changes. I would say about half of them I've had done, and then the other half I've done myself. I've always jacked it up and done it from underneath. Don't do that. This, I think, was like $20 or less. And let's just say these were so bad they only worked one time. It costs like $105 to $150, depending on where you're going and what oil you're using, to have somebody do your oil. I'll have to double check, but even with this, it's still under $100. Even if you were to buy your oil pan and buy the tools, it'd be less than an actual oil change. All right, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and loosen this. It's on there pretty good. And then I'll show you the filter once I get this off. All right, and this is the only time you would actually really get dirty, but if you have two rags, you should be able to do this no problem. So let me give you the part number on the filter here. This is your part number. I'll leave a link in the description below. I'm gonna leave a link in the description below for all these tools, so you can literally buy an entire kit to do this, and it will likely be cheaper than getting your oil changed one time from somebody else. And anybody can do this, seriously. So there's the filter, here's the new filter, and it slides on like this. And you get 3 O-rings. There's an O-ring here, and the big one here. Make sure you change those. Put all those O-rings on, slide the new filter on, put it on in, and make sure you wipe up any excess oil from when you pulled it out, and you're good to go. And then that's it. Also, while you're doing this, is a good time to go ahead and pull your tubes out and let them drain from a high spot into your actual pan. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the filter on, get the O-rings on, and show you what it looks like. Top ring, middle, bottom ring, new filter. And we're going to wipe that up, put it in, tighten it down, and you just want it to get it till it stops and just slightly snug. You don't want to crank it and get it dumb tight, because it will get tight over time. Just heating up and cooling down. So let me go ahead and get that done. Now there's these 2 little spots here, that these guys right here and one over there, those pop in, and then back here there's these 2 hooks. They hook into there, so you hook them into that first and then pop them into these. Make sure this wire is out of the way. All right, and then we go ahead and pop that in. Get this guy on there all the way. Bring your wire up, and then it's gonna go ahead and clip on right there, and then carefully on there. You want it to hear a little pop and snap. You're gonna tighten that up, and we'll put some oil in. And just go ahead and put that on. It clicks, it's in place. Now we can put some oil in. All right, so it takes 8.1 quarts, like I said earlier. I'm using 0.40. It's what is suggested that I always see. It works really great in my van. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the big one in, which is the 5 quarts, and then we're gonna put 1.5 of these and check the oil. The reason why is because sometimes there's less behind oil, and this is the first time I've ever used this, so I'd hate to overfill it because I don't know how much could or couldn't be left in it. And then if it still reads low, we're gonna go ahead and put the 1.5 in there, or as much as we actually need. So let's get this in there. All right, so something somebody taught me long ago is put a couple breather holes up here. So I put in 3, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and make just a little bit here. So that way it pours evenly and nice. So this is like a vent hole. Imagine if you're a beer drinker or you're shotgunning a beer, this is your air hole, and then this is where the oil comes out. So that way you don't pour too much and, you know, risk actually spilling it. Dang it, spilled. After I was just talking about not spilling it. It's all right. I'm actually gonna clean this all up tomorrow, pressure wash it, get it all nice and clean, because I'm going on a trip to San Diego. So I wanted to make sure everything was super good. Try and change my oil every about 10,000 miles, sometimes 5, sometimes it's gone 15. Now it suggests 15. I highly suggest don't doing 15. 10 would be the max I would go. I think going 15 is what damaged my van. I actually had to replace the cams and a few other things, but that's a whole nother story in itself. All right, so I got the big jug, the 5, the 1.5. I'm gonna go ahead and start it up, let it circulate really quick, and then check the oil. Don't you love the dinging? Now I'll just say for like 30 seconds or so. Luckily I got the little countdown timer on this so I can see. All right, that should be good. All right, let's check the oil, shall we? Go ahead and wipe this off. You want to get it all the way in there, pull it out, and it is for sure low. It's right about here. It's down just at that little part. So we're gonna go ahead and put the half, and then I'm gonna put another half in and then see where it stands. So actually I'm just gonna take the whole one, put the whole one in, and then leave the half sitting at half. All right, one more start, and hopefully we're pretty close. Also, let it sit for about 30 seconds to maybe a minute before checking your oil, because it's gotta, you know, go back down to the bottom. All right, I know it's a little hard to see, but it's right in the middle. And that's with the full 8 quarts. I went ahead and put that half quart back in there. So that thing works really well. It sucked out all the oil, which is crazy because I've drained it normally, like how you would with traditionally changing your oil, and I end up with a little extra. Yeah, but luckily I have one that's all the way full. I just always have an extra one just in case, and it'll just stay full in the van until maybe it burns a little bit, but I've had a lot of good luck with it not burning oil. So this oil is pretty dirty this time. I'm super stoked on this little handy oil extractor. It is definitely worth every penny. I work at a shop that we do scooter stuff and whatnot. I'm the social media guy and videographer, marketing manager, and we have a extractor that works with air, takes a lot longer, and can't hold enough oil. So I was going to use that, and I was like, oh, I think it only holds like 6 or 7 quarts. So it would have worked if I did a few things, but this was way worth it. So I highly suggest it. I'll leave a link in the description. I'm gonna go ahead and clean all this up and catch up with you in a second. This is all I used: ratchet, extension, flathead, and 27mm. All right, and there you go. Just a little bit of oil actually spilled a little bit when I pulled the thing out. So just don't clean your vehicle before. I also got a little oil here and a drip of it right there. So like I said earlier in the video, I'm gonna go ahead and clean all this tomorrow or sometime this weekend before I leave, because I gotta do rear brakes on this. Now I will show you a video on how to do the brakes another time. If you've had a Mercedes Metris for a long time, you know you go through rear brakes. So I am guessing in about 3 to 6 months, I'll probably be telling you how to do this. I hope I was able to help you guys out. Make sure your dipstick is in, make sure your oil cap is tight, double check all of your work, make sure obviously your oil filter is in there and tight, and that is it. That's all. I hope you guys have a great evening. I appreciate you guys for watching, and hey, click the subscribe button if you learned something. Other than that, I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.